It's hard to explain how humiliating it feels to have your heart race over someone who thinks of you as a little brother. Or worse, just your best friend's friend. But humiliation became my daily routine the moment I had to move in with Ethan Kane. It was supposed to be temporary just until my lease ended and I found something affordable in the city. 2 months. That was the plan. But plans have a way of laughing in your face when life decides you need to suffer. From the moment Ethan opened his apartment door, barefoot, hair damp from a shower, and wearing nothing but loose basketball shorts, I knew I was in trouble. The kind of trouble that keeps you up at night, staring at the ceiling, asking God why he gave you eyes. He wasn't just my best friend's older brother, was Ethan. The alpha in every unspoken way. Confident, charming, infuriatingly kind, with a smile that could make a nun rethink her vows. And the worst part? He had no idea. I wish I could say I handled living with him with grace and composure. In reality, I nearly dropped my suitcase when he offered me a beer before I'd even set my bag down. "You drink, right?" he asked, already popping the cap off for me. I nodded, mostly because words had decided to take the night off. The apartment smelled faintly of cedar and laundry detergent, the kind of scent that sticks to your clothes and makes you think about it in the grocery store line 3 days later. You can take the guest room. Bathrooms down the hall. And if you're ever hungry, I cook on weekends. Or, order takeout if I burn it. He grinned like it was a joke. But his eyes, God. Those eyes were warm and inviting. This was going to be hell. The first week was a disaster. I kept catching myself staring too long at the way his shirt stretched across his shoulders when he reached for the top shelf. Or the way he'd hum off-key while making coffee in the morning, hair sticking up in every possible direction. One night, I walked into the living room to find him sprawled on the couch, watching a basketball game, legs wide enough that there was barely room for me to sit. "Come here," he said casually, patting the spot beside him. My brain short-circuited. He didn't mean anything by it. He never meant anything by it. But my heart wasn't built for this kind of reckless closeness. The thing about Ethan was that he wasn't just attractive, he was good. The kind of good that made you feel safe. He'd ask about my day and actually listen. He'd bring me a cup of tea when I had a late-night deadline, muttering something about keeping me alive so rent money kept coming in. But every kindness was a double-edged sword. Every small act carved a little deeper into my chest, a reminder that I wanted something I couldn't have. I tried dating other guys. Really, I did. But every time, I'd find myself comparing them to Ethan, how they didn't make me laugh like he did, or how they didn't make my name sound like it mattered. The turning point came one rainy Saturday night. Power went out across the block, plunging the apartment into darkness except for the flicker of the streetlights outside. Ethan lit a few candles, the warm glow painting his face in soft gold. "You okay with scary movies?" he asked, grinning as he queued one up on his laptop. "I'm fine," I lied. Halfway through, there was a jump scare. I flinched. Okay, maybe I grabbed his arm. His laugh rumbled deep in his chest, and instead of teasing me, he rested his hand over mine. It was small, probably nothing to him, but to me, it felt like standing on the edge of a cliff and realizing you might want to jump. I didn't know it then, but that night was the first crack in the wall I'd built between us. The cracks kept coming. The morning he made pancakes and insisted I eat the last one because you like them more. The afternoon he pulled me into his arms without thinking when I slipped on the wet kitchen floor. And then one night, 3 months way past my planned departure date, everything changed. We'd been drinking a little, laughing too loud over some stupid meme I showed him. And in the middle of his laughter, Ethan's eyes caught mine, and something in the air shifted. "You've got this look," he said quietly, "like you're holding back." I tried to play it off. "From what?" "From saying something you really want to say." The silence stretched. My pulse was a drumbeat in my ears. "Ethan," I whispered, "I like you. More than I should." He didn't laugh. He didn't look away. He just leaned in, slow and careful, like he was giving me every chance to stop him. But I didn't. The kiss was gentle at first, like we were both afraid to shatter whatever fragile thing had bloomed between us. Then it deepened, And suddenly the world felt smaller, just the two of us and the taste of beer and rain on his lips. When we pulled back, his forehead rested against mine. "Good," he murmured, "because I've been trying not to like you for months. Guess I failed." Living together after that wasn't easier, it was just better. We still had our moments. Arguments over laundry, over who forgot to buy milk. But there was also him pressing a kiss to my temple when I was half asleep on the couch, or me making him coffee just the way he liked it. The world outside could be sharp and cold, but in that apartment with him it was warm, safe. And maybe love had been waiting for me all along, not in grand gestures, but in the quiet, everyday moments we shared. The weeks that followed felt like learning to breathe again. It wasn't some dramatic shift where we turned into a perfect couple overnight. We were still us, me with my anxious overthinking, him with his infuriating habit of leaving socks everywhere. But now there were soft kisses before morning coffee, fingers brushing in the grocery store aisle, and the comfort of knowing that when I came home, he'd be there. One evening, we sat on the balcony, the city glowing beneath us. It was late spring, the kind of night where the air felt like a warm blanket. Ethan had his arms slung over the back of my chair, not quite touching me but close enough that his presence was a steady hum in my chest. "You know," he said after a long silence, "I used to think relationships had to be fireworks. Big, loud, impossible to ignore. And now?" I asked. He turned to look at me, his eyes softer than I'd ever seen them. "Now I think they're more like this. Quiet, easy, something that feels like home." The words hit me harder than I expected. I'd spent so long hiding how I felt, convincing myself that Ethan could never see me the way I saw him. And now, here we were, two people who had danced around each other for years, finally finding the courage to step closer. I reached for his hand, lacing my fingers with his. "I think I've been in love with you since the day we met," I admitted. He smiled, that slow, devastating smile. "Took you long enough to tell me." I laughed, leaning my head against his shoulder. "You weren't exactly making it easy." The city lights shimmered in the distance, but the only thing that mattered was the warmth of his hand in mine, the quiet thrum of his heartbeat under my ear. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was waiting for something. I didn't feel like I had to hide. I was home, and Ethan was already there, waiting. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.